Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 150 of In a Good Way podcast. Today's special guest is Britney Pace, who also has the tarot channel BB Electra Tarot. I'll definitely put a link to it after. She's also experienced in NDE, amongst many other things. We're gonna get into that right now. But yeah, it's an honor, Britney, to have you here. I really look forward to this conversation.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me, Omar.
Absolutely. And, for those that don't know, tomorrow is the 3-year anniversary of the podcast as we're doing this. So, yeah, this is a good episode 150, and hopefully I could bust out another 150 episodes. So, I'm
Absolutely.
excited. I'm excited. So, I always like to start off, you've watched the podcast. I always like to start asking the guests, I know you experienced a lot of things, but when you were younger, were you already experiencing anything? And did that lead you to find out that maybe, your mom, grandma, or on your dad's side or anything, did anyone already have some kind of gifts as you were little? Did you find that out?
Yeah, it's funny. As a kid, I always felt a little misplaced or something. I didn't know how to explain it. Like I grew up very uh raised in a Southern Baptist church.
Mm.
And so spirituality is not something that people talk about. It's like religious, the religious side of it. But my mom always had a really good intuition.
Oh.
She's a Capricorn. Her name's Rebecca. And she raised me to be a free spirit.
Mm.
Even though we went to church and everything like that, she had some spiritual gifts as well. And I would say that her mom, no, not so much, but her dad definitely had some spiritual gifts as well.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, but in this where I live, like it's frowned upon to be spiritual, I guess you could say. So coming into spirituality was definitely a change for me, um, for sure. But we'll get into that.
Yeah. So you live in the Bible Belt then?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. 'Cause
I I
yeah.
went to church on Monday, Wednesday. I mean, we had visitation, Wednesday night church, Thursday night Bible study, Sunday church, Sunday night church. Like I was raised in church. My
Mm.
grandfather was the um, music director, and then he also was like the fill-in pastor or whatever you want to call it when the preacher wasn't there. So I was great. Like I was basically raised by my grandparents because my parents worked a lot, and so it was kind of drilled into me the religious side of things growing up. But I always had that spiritual inclination, even as a young kid. Like I would dream things and they would come true the next
Oh,
day.
okay.
I my great grandmother died, but the night before she passed away, I told my mom that morning. I said, I had a dream last night. The phone rang and that they said that our grandmother died, and she was like, "Oh, that's crazy." Not even a few minutes later, the phone rang, and they called to tell us she passed away. So
Wow.
yeah, I just always had vivid dreams, and sometimes they would come true. It happened more than that, like many, many times. But that was
Wow.
my first, I guess, gift was some kind of foresight or premonitions or something like that.
Wow. How old were you when you remember like your first premonition?
Six.
6. Wow. See, I could date mine back to when I was 5 years old. That was my first thing too. Like,
Really?
yeah, the premonition. So that's
That's
interesting.
pretty. I mean, I guess it's just, I think it's random, but I would say I was about 6 years old,
Wow.
and my parents would be like, "You're weird," they would say things.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember the exact same thing. They were like, oh yeah, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen next or something like that. And I have that memory of when I was 5 years old. So it's crazy.
That's,
Wow.
that
Yeah,
is
yeah,
crazy. That's a trip.
yeah, yeah.
With most situations there.
Yeah. So after that, yeah, I don't want to hop right into the ND unless it happened when you were younger or it happened already older.
Oh no, it happened 6 years ago, and I'm
Oh,
37 as of a few days ago. So
oh,
I was it was when I gave birth to my daughter when I had my NDE, and
oh,
that's
wow.
whenever I think I lived most of my life just confused
Hmm.
basically because I had all these intuitions like things that I would think and like feel and then be told that was wrong to in a sense, I was made when I grew up. I lived in Carlsbad, New Mexico. It's a small town, and just there's not a lot of spiritual practices here there
Oh,
that you hear about, I guess you could say. But when I moved to California, I started. I lived in the Bay Area for a while. I was open up to a different uh, cultures and different beliefs and things like that. So I was kind of made aware of it then, but it wasn't until my NDE when I was 31, sorry, that I really tapped into everything. So,
oh, wow. So okay,
but
oh, go.
yeah, yeah. But I always had a feeling that I knew had like a sixth sense or something like that. I guess you could call it. I knew that I was special in some sort of way. Not to sound corny, but
No, no, yeah. And what? Let me ask you, because you said you were a musician as well. Did that ever? Because I think that was a huge part of me having like or tapping into my gifts, like writing songs and just kind of being connected to something else, right? So did you experience the same thing being a musician?
Yes, I whenever I write songs, even just the other day, I wrote a song. It's like channeling or
Yeah, yeah.
something. Um, I can be inspired by something and then go sit down, and all of a sudden, it's like the words are just coming to me like from a higher realm or something like that.
Mm,
And so I was in a band when I was 17, and we would perform and stuff like that. We'd travel, go out of town, and perform and stuff. But the songs that I wrote were definitely like uh, I would write them in 10 minutes or something like that.
wow.
Yeah, this is crazy. Like it would just be like boom, download, write them down, get it out there, and it would always blow away my bandmates. They'd be like, "How did you write that so fast?" I'm like, "I don't know, just just did." Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just
yeah.
came to me. So
Yeah, yeah. That's no, that's how I write songs. So it will frustrate like when I've tried to collaborate with other people and sometimes like people will take like 2 weeks or something. I'll be like, like it doesn't make sense to me,
yeah,
but
yes,
yeah, that's cool. No, that's really cool. That's cool. I
yeah,
don't think I've met a lot of other people that have been able to write that fast. So
yeah.
yeah,
That's it. Me either. It's interesting. It's definitely, I guess, a rare. That's why it's a gift. You
yeah,
know, it's
yeah.
something we were gifted to be able to do that because I've seen people sit there and with a journal for like you said, 2 weeks, and it takes them like 2 weeks to write out one song, and I'm like, dude, I just did that in like 7 minutes or something. And it's not that I'm bragging. It's just I just never understood why it took so long, but that's just because we were given that gift. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but like you said, it would feel like chant. Like, where did those words come? Like, how? Like,
yeah,
it would. Yeah, yeah. But I guess you don't call it that maybe because I don't know, or maybe you don't understand. Like, I didn't understand yet, right? Like that. That's probably what was happening.
I,
So
I don't think I did either at that time, but when I look back on it now that I understand things more, I know that that's channeling because it's kind of like the same when I do tarot readings or something for people, because I have people come over to my house all the time for readings, and um, whenever I bless and shuffle and all that stuff, and I get into it, like sometimes I don't even remember what I said,
mm,
and sometimes I do. I mean, but it's just like something comes. It's almost like something comes into you, like not in a bad way. It's a good way. It's in a good way, which is your channel name. It's funny, but it's you're just being a conduit for the right messages to come out. So um,
absolutely.
that's kind of the same thing with lyric writing.
Yeah,
It's just like when you're meant to write a song, you're meant, you get that download. So
absolutely. I know you mentioned too that you found yourself levitating at one point. Was that before the NDE or after? So we
that
don't.
was before. So,
Okay, okay.
and
So
you
we
were actually
could.
on the right timeline, like everything we've mentioned. So at this point, I was about, it was whenever I was doing music, I was 17. Um, I woke up one night and I looked and my head is above my headboard. So like
Mm,
my feet are down at the bottom of the bed and my head is up here and my feet start to where they're not touching. And immediately I kind of panicked. And I'm like, what is this? Like, what's happening right now? And I grabbed onto my headboards like this behind me because they had like poles, and I grabbed onto them and immediately just started praying because that was my first instinct. and I fell, boom, like that onto the bed, and I was like shook, like I was crying, I was upset, and I know I was not asleep. My mom, I went and told her, I woke her up and told her, she's like, you were dreaming, and I said, no, it definitely wasn't dreaming because I would have, you know what I mean? Like I was levitating for a good probably 20 seconds, just frozen, like not sure what to do.
Wow.
And then so I don't know exactly what that was. I had a priest tell me that I was being hexed or like somebody was doing witchcraft on me or something. But I don't know if that's true either. But yeah, that was definitely something that was very bizarre that happened to me. It felt like I was being sucked up into the sky, is what I would explain it like. And it was an ethereal moment for me. It wasn't like I was terrified, but I prayed because that it would stop because I didn't know what it was, if that makes sense. It didn't
Mm.
feel dark, but like I later on after that, I had night terrors for when my grandma had cancer. I moved in with her and I took care of her for quite a while. And for like 6 months straight, every night I had night terrors. And that was dark. That was something not good. Um, I would wake up and there would be some kind, I wouldn't be able to move, like sleep paralysis, I guess you
Mm.
could say. And I would see this shadowy figure with like a top hat um over me, and he was choking me. And or one time I got ripped off the bed. I actually flew off my bed.
Oh, wow.
And that I think was somebody uh sending me the evil eye, which actually yesterday for my birthday, yesterday I went and got tattooed. My birthday was the other day, but I got the evil eye protection right there.
Wow.
But I haven't had night terrors in a long time. But
Mm.
um, I've seen the dark with the levitating thing. It wasn't like dark. It was just a bizarre thing. I don't If anybody knows what that is, they can tell me. But that's definitely been very significant in my memory of like spirituality and things like that. Like that I was I was well aware then that there's like something else beyond what I knew at that point that's out there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's like that would be the mic drop of like spiritual. Like after that, who can tell you, oh, spiritual things don't exist, right? Like,
Exactly. Exactly. Like I knew I wasn't crazy. I was like, okay, my mom doesn't have to believe me, but I believe me because I knew very well that I was awake, you know.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Like,
But it
I mean,
was
oh, go.
it was just all it was just like funny to see from the time I was a kid to the time that I had my NDE, just how things gradually got more and more intense. You know what I'm saying? And I'll tell you that story in a minute when we get to it. But it's like it's been like a gradual process my entire life. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I mean, we can start talking about it if you want, unless there was some. Oh, what did it ever happen again? The levitation, or that was the one
no,
time?
that was it. That was the one time. And yeah, it just felt like I was it just felt like I was being sucked up into I was afraid I was gonna hit the ceiling. And
Mm,
when I fell hard because I was probably a good, I'd say 4 or 5 feet off the bed.
mm.
But my feet were like down low. They weren't touching, but it was like my head was like way high. So I don't know what that was, if it was like some kind of like somebody said aliens or something one time.
You know, that was my no. When you said it, that was one of the first things that popped in my head, actually.
Yeah, and I
So,
lived right by Roswell,
oh,
New Mexico. So where
wow,
the aliens came, Area 51, which is funny. This is podcast 150, the Area 51. That's like the five in
wow,
one thing.
wow.
But yeah, no, I don't know per se what exactly it was, but I think it'll be um made clear to me when I need to know what it was.
Yeah,
So
I feel like it might happen again. You know, when certain things have happened to me, I did the same thing as you, just because it caught me by surprise, and I prayed like, no, take like stop this, whatever.
mhm.
So I think because when we do that, they listen, right? And then it'll go away. And one day when you're ready, it'll happen again, you know? So hopefully you won't be out in the open where you just keep floating,
Right.
you know? So Hopefully you'll be indoors so you could, okay,
Yeah,
this is cool. What do I do now? But
yeah. I won't be scared next time.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. If you're not scared,
Yeah,
then obviously you know, you just might stay and you'll be able to do it whenever you want, It'll be
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
interesting. So yeah, let's hit into the unless there's something another thing that happened to you that's significant that you want to talk about before we get into the NDE.
Um, I think that's I think that's like I mean, that's pretty much it. I've had other things randomly, that have happened, but the ones that stood out in my mind the most. I mean, I have had experiences with like incubuses, but I don't know if we want to get into that on here.
Well, actually, no, that's funny because that was kind of what was in my head right now. Any like, I guess entities, because some people. It's funny because some people don't believe in that kind of stuff, and like, but for me, that I've experienced those things, like it's like that.
Mhm.
Like you levitated, you saw it. Well, who's gonna tell you it didn't happen? So, like the things I've experienced, like they haven't, like I don't, they're not recurring anymore, But when I was younger, I definitely saw a lot of crazy stuff. So yeah, if you've seen certain things, yeah, by all means, if you
Yeah,
don't
no,
mind
I've been,
sharing.
been asleep and woke up in the middle of the night and it felt like something was touching my
Mm,
body. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's no one there, and it was very confusing for sure. But you can't tell me like I've even had it happen when I was going to sleep. I wasn't even asleep yet.
mm,
It's happened 2 or 3 times that I've experienced that where it feels like all of a sudden somebody's like rubbing your leg or grabbing onto you in ways that were um sexual or
mm,
some natures like that. And I never could like I don't think I was scared at this point because I already had so many other things happen, but like it was definitely intriguing. I just didn't. I stopped telling people because it raised eyebrows. They were like looking at me a little different. But I've definitely had incubus type experiences where it felt like someone was trying to either do like some kind of. And I've heard of since then. I've heard about like people saying sex magic or something like that. Like I don't know if that's what it was, but I've definitely woke up and I can be looking down at my arm or something, and somebody's grazing their hand down my arm or touching my leg or something like that, and it's there's no explanation for it. You can't,
yeah.
you know. So
Wow.
I don't know. That's the only other thing I could think of. Let me grab a drink one second.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've definitely experienced just some very bizarre things, but it's never consistent. It's very random, you know. So
Okay.
it's not like it happens every night or something like that. But I think that I think that when as a Pisces, like I'm very in tune to like and susceptible. They say like to spiritual experiences. I think,
Yeah.
and I stopped letting it scare me. I used to be so scared of everything as a kid. I was so scared of everything. Like I could watch a scary movie like Candyman or Scream or something like that and be scared. But now I rollerblade, and the best time to go here because it's so hot. And I'm sorry about all the traffic. Normally it's
Oh,
so
I can't
quiet.
hear it. I can't hear. I think Zoom does good with the noise cancellation, so I
Oh,
can't.
does it? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So I rollerblade. So the best time to go is at night, and so I'll just go put my rollerblades on. I have really nice ones, and I just go skate. And people are like, "Aren't you scared?" And I'm like, "No, I'm really like I really found um just I know I'm protected, and like I know that if something dangerous is coming up, I'm gonna sense it first.
Ah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I can feel it coming, so I go another way, and that's been my whole life. I've done that
Wow.
my whole life. Like I've always just missed danger somehow, like ahead of time. Maybe a setback. People get mad, like you're taking too long to get ready. Well, I always say there's a reason why I'm delayed because it's protecting me from something. And
Yeah.
people, it took a long time, and now people believe it. They're like, okay, I guess we're not supposed to leave yet because Brittany's not ready.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, that's beautiful. I love
that's,
that. Yeah.
but other than that, that's about it for the ones that stand out in my mind. Just those things.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's hop into the NDE. I want to hear about because I know you've shared some of it with me, but I want to hear about that story. Absolutely.
Okay, so I got my first daughter. I had her, and it went well, like the birth and everything. And but a week later, I'd gotten sick, and I had blood clots and stuff, and I had to have emergency surgery. That
Mm.
wasn't an NDE though. But fast forward to a few years later, I had my second daughter, Copper. Her name's Copper,
Oh,
and as soon as I gave birth to her, I was, you know, my dad's next to me. There's a the doctors and stuff. Well, the doctor goes to like hand me my baby. I couldn't lift up my arms. I felt like a slug in the mud is what I kept saying.
wow.
Like I felt like I couldn't move. And I was trying to let them know that something wasn't right, that I'd already had another kid, that there's something wrong. Well, nobody really listened to me at first. Well, 2 or 3 hours later, I couldn't move. And I'm telling my dad, I said, Dad, something's really wrong with me. And about that time, my ex's uh, dad, he was a EMT or something at one point. He looked at my stats on the machine, and my blood pressure had shot up like super high, like super high. And and I started hemorrhaging. I had 13 grapefruit-sized blood clots in my inside, from giving birth. And so uh, I'm bleeding out everywhere, all over the place. Like blood is not to be gross, but
No, no, you're good. You're good.
the doctor hasn't made it there yet, and the nurse at first was trying to be like, this is normal, and da da da. Well, all of a sudden, before the doctor gets there, this man walks in, and he's in blue scrubs, and he's got like his face covered. He's got the hat on. Nobody else is dressed like that, like just him. And he squeezes my hand, okay, and he's like, "You just got to hang on. You got to hang on." He's talking to me. And my dad's here crying over me. I can't say a word. I can't even talk at this
Mm.
point. My lips are turning blue. Um, I'm basically about. They said if I had lost, they said if the doctor didn't show up, which she runs in the room, she's got her pajamas on. She puts on rubber gloves and doesn't even put on anything else. And she actually ended up saving my life. But during that time, I this guy squeezing my hand, but I fade out, right? Like
Wow.
everything I see goes black. And then all of a sudden there's these lights. And I explain it like this, like it's like there's these prism like lights all next to me. And I'm projecting forward towards a bright
Mm.
light, but it's far away. But as I'm projecting, there's all these lights next to me. They're just like, you're just like passing through this. And I went from being scared before to just peaceful, like
Wow.
the most peaceful feeling that you could ever imagine. Like, and I knew I was dying. I knew it. And and it's weird because right before I went into that tunnel experience, I like I levitated. Like it seemed like I could see myself from above, and I could see my dad crying. I could see the man holding my hand, and then I could see the nurses that were right here, and I could see the doctor come in, and then all of a sudden that's when it went black or whatever. But fast forward to when she manually got rid of all those clots. She had to rupture them, and
Mm.
then I got two blood transfusions and stuff like that. Ended up, but um, whenever whenever I came back, I still felt that sluggish feeling, right? Like I just felt like I couldn't hardly talk or anything like that. And that guy was still there holding my hand until I was good. And whenever he saw I was good, he said, "Okay, you're good now," and he left the room and stuff like that. Well, I still couldn't speak. Well, a few hours later, I finally could talk again. Like I didn't like I could finally get words out. It was almost like I was like paralyzed or something for a
Mm.
minute. But they said like you shouldn't even be alive right now and stuff like that. And I said, who was that man that was holding my hand? I want to tell him thank you because he really kept me focused on staying fighting. You know what I'm saying? He was like, you got to fight for your daughter. Like, who is this guy? How do I like? How does he know I have like two daughters?
Oh.
Because my oldest daughter wasn't there, and he was talking to me and stuff during that during all of that, and my dad goes, "What guy are you talking about?" And I was like, "The guy that was standing next to you, Dad." And he was like, there wasn't a guy standing next to you. And the nurse was
Wow.
like, yeah, there was no guy standing next to you. And I could tell she was like looking at me weird. I was like, I better not say nothing else because they'll probably put me in the psych ward or something. You know
Ah.
what I mean? But my dad, I believed him that there was no physical, and I knew immediately what that was. That was an angel that
Mm,
came to guide me through that experience of. He said, "You're not ready to leave it. You're going to be fine." Like, he was saying all the things that
mm,
you know. And so I never did mention it again. I was ended up being sent to a town 5 hours away. I was in the hospital for like a week. I was really sick and stuff, but I got well and went home. Actually, on the 4th of July, Independence Day was the day I got to go home.
mm,
So anyhow, it was bizarre because a few weeks, or no, not even a few weeks, sorry, it was a few months after that, I was telling my cousin, and she had just had a baby. Maybe, actually, no, it was a year. It was a few years. It was a few years after that. I don't know why I said a few months, but it was a few years after that. I was telling my cousin about my experience because we were talking about spirituality and stuff. Because I woke up with a whole set of gifts that I didn't even know I had after my near death experience. But she told, when I was explaining to her what happened in the hospital, she said, "Don't say another word." She goes, "Let me explain this man to you." And she starts telling me, and like it was so weird because a year after that, like I didn't meet her son. We weren't in that much contact at the time, so I didn't meet her son till he was one. But she had the same angel come to her when she was almost dying from having her son
oh
in the
wow.
hospital. And so like I drew him because I'm an artist as well. Like I kind of drew what he looked like from what I could see, and she says the same exact thing. And she said the same thing. She said, "Where's that guy at?" And they were like, "He's not. There's no guy in here. There's no guy in here." And he was
Wow.
wearing the same scrubs and everything. So I don't know if it's a familial, like an angel that's like an ancestor of ours or what.
Mm.
But she's a Scorpio. She's also a water sign, but we're a little bit of the black sheep of the family,
Oh.
you know. But uh, we're into spiritual things, but it was so bizarre to hear that confirmation because I almost wondered if I was crazy at that time.
Mm,
But after I got into spirituality, like seriously, when I woke up and I was in that hospital in Albuquerque, which is 5 hours away, like because uh, I I had a lot of procedures I had to have done and stuff. I woke up one day there in my hospital and I was like, I need to go get my hands on a tarot deck. And I was always raised that that's wrong. You don't mess with tarot. And the message I got during sometimes whatever I was going through was that I was supposed to bring the light into the dark places because
mm,
you can use things for good and you can use things for bad and anything. And sometimes we're called to dark places, but we're supposed to bring our light. So my overall experience of like dying was that I was supposed to come back into the world and shine my light no matter what. Quit being scared, shy, quit being, afraid to uh, trust my intuition, I guess you could say, and just to embrace what I was being told every day. And so I try to tune into that every day and just see where I'm supposed to shine my light in the world or like how and my family probably has shunned me a little bit because of getting into tarot,
oh
but
wow.
at the same time they're starting to see what I meant by it. Like I'm bringing the good way about it. Like it's not the I'm not doing it to spy on people. It's to help people find their highest best path forward. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's my whole experience.
No, no,
That's
no.
in a
Thank you.
nutshell.
Thank you so much for sharing. And so as soon as you came back and you said so you already knew the meanings of the cards as well and all that, right?
Yes, yes. And so when I finally went, I got a tarot deck like as soon as I could, like after I got out of the hospital, and I opened it up and stuff and was looking at the cards and like I was just going through every card and I was like, this probably means this, this probably means this, and then after I got done, I looked at the guidebook and I was like, how did I know that? Like,
Mm,
there's no way. You know what I'm saying? It was like it was almost like it was something was like given to me, some kind of like knowledge or something was like bestowed upon me during that experience. I'd never thought of getting a tarot deck before that, and then that's what happened. So I don't know. It was very bizarre. It was cool though. It was almost like confirmation for me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, have you looked into it yet? Have you ever had any memories of past lives or any, yeah?
Yeah, I after I became more aware of things, I started my dreams became more intense even. Like it
Mm.
was almost like they upgraded or something. But I know I think I've had a past life in Rome, in
Oh,
Egypt, um, and I definitely have some native stuff going on. That's all I've got so far. But I've dreamed about a past life I had in Rome, where I was
oh,
standing on like a staircase with someone, and I looked it up. I found the staircase. It was weird.
wow.
It was very bizarre. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I wonder if there's a staircase. And I found the staircase online. I for like one whole day, like every time I got a chance, I would look on Google, like Google Images or whatever, and I finally found it, and it was identical to my dream. And there's no
Mm.
reason I should know that. I've never
Yeah, yeah,
been there.
yeah.
So yeah,
Damn.
it was interesting.
Yeah, yeah, no, no. That's happened to me where like I'll dream it and then I just know it's a past life and I look something up and like I've been in a ceremony. That was a familiar thing, like how you mentioned the native um like past lives. I've had a lot where and I'll always be in a ceremony. So I guess I was always doing spiritual things, right? And then I'll end up finding I'll Google and I'll be like, oh, is there like one I was in a tribe in Virginia. Another one it was like it seemed like it was the Iroquois that
Yeah,
like which was the northern part of the US or Canada, like in between both. So all these ceremonies that there's no way I should know that these kind of ceremonies existed. And I'm like, it's
like
crazy.
certain dances or things
Yeah.
you were doing, or yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
like
It was crazy.
rituals, and you look them up and they're actually a thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And even
that's
places like you said, like that you found the exact staircase. Like I've had those where I found and it's like it's impossible, but it happened. You know?
it does.
Yeah, yeah,
It does. It always trips me out, but in it, it's like, but I smile. Like it makes me feel like I'm like, okay, cool. Like things are not as black and white as I was taught growing up. I had to break a lot of chains, and I finally feel happy and peaceful with where I'm at in my life, if that makes sense. Like,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Because I wanted to ask you about that. Like I know you said your family's more accepting now, because I think that's the hardest thing, right? So for anybody listening, because obviously I've gone through that, you've gone through that, so many people go through that.
mhm.
I think a lot of times with NDE experiencers, it's kind of cool because it's like once they have that, then people kind of don't question them as much, right? It's like, hey, I died, came back. This is what they showed me, so
Yep,
I think people accept it more. But like a lot of times when you don't have those things, maybe people just don't understand why you're being pulled in that direction, right? Like the spirituality, as
yeah.
opposed. But like you said, so nowadays you really don't have that opposition. People don't really judge you and this and that, or
No, no. Actually, a lot of people can get readings from me now that at
mm,
first were like thinking it was bizarre, and it's funny because the ones that were the most like against it, sort of, are the ones that come to me most often.
ah, ha, ha.
And so, and that's the thing though. I make it all about, I say a prayer. I do. I don't spy on people. Like I said, it's just I do it for good reasons, and that's my mission. And I feel like it's a misunderstood thing. Like you can do everything you have in your life is based on the intention of your heart and how you mean it to, whatever your intention is, that's everything. Your intention is everything. So if your
Absolutely.
intentions are good, you're going to be protected. You know what I mean? Like, and so for for my family, at first it almost discouraged me a little bit, but then I was like, nope, I can't. When you get your calling, there's nothing that's gonna like deter you from it. And I've put my channel up on YouTube recently, and I'm seeing how that goes. But I do readings, in town for people, and I'm pretty much the only reader in town.
Oh,
There's like
wow.
one more or so, but they don't advertise it, so it's pretty crazy.
Oh, that's good. So you got the market right there.
That's monopoly.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. Um,
So
oh, I was gonna ask you
yeah,
something. I forgot what I was gonna say. Um, yeah, yeah, it's fine.
and I do birth charts too as well for
Oh,
people. I'm
okay.
kind like I understand astrology. Like since I was a kid, I had an interest also in astrology. So
Mm.
I guess I don't know. I'm pretty good at doing birth charts, but I'm good at guessing birthdays. Like I meet somebody and I'll be like, "Are you are you a Scorpio or are you a Leo?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "How'd you know that, you weirdo?" I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's another thing. I think it all ties together some way or another.
No,
The
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so but that's something I've been interested in since I can remember. And even my daughter, she's a Cancer, Gemini cusp. She's supposed to,
Oh,
she's a Cancer, but she's on the cusp of Gemini, and she goes around telling people she's into it too. She's like, my mom's a Pisces, and I'm a Cancer, and my moon is in this and that, and so it's cute. It's kind of cool to see like a different like me being open to that and how like in tune my kids are with things. Their intuitions are like solid. Like
yeah.
they're really one's a Gemini, super smart, talk your ear off all day long.
Oh,
And
when's her birthday?
June 15th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's like dead center or she's like full on she's double Gemini. She has a Gemini moon as well. So
Oh, okay.
she's a real she's like four kids in one.
Ah, I could imagine, yeah.
She's awesome though. She's my sweetheart.
Oh,
Me and her like I'm close with both of them, but they say that they always told me that Gemini and Pisces don't get along, but we get along really well, like
yeah.
really really well. I think it's that mutable energy. Um, but yeah, I definitely I do birth charts, I do tarot now, and that near death experience was definitely something that opened my eyes to a whole other world. And I my other message, if I could say, if you don't mind,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Go ahead, go ahead.
about religion is that I'd like to compare religion to like politics. You know how you have like Democrats and Republicans. It creates division. Like for me personally, there's good, there's bad, there's God, the devil, however you want to see it. But when you get into like picking a religion, like you see all these people fighting over everything, and you know what I'm saying, choosing a side or whatever. I wish that more people would just realize that there's good and there's bad, and there's God, there's the devil, whatever you believe, however you want to see it or believe in it. But for me personally, it's God, the devil, and focusing on that is the most important thing, not creating all these different religions and saying who's right, who's wrong. If Buddha's your God and you see God as Buddha, then that's God to you. But they're light and dark, good and bad. And so I don't know. I think I wish more people would come together and be unified and not waste like so much time on all this petty stuff, fighting, bickering over what religion is right and things like that. So that's one thing that I was also with my NDE. Like when I woke up, like my whole thought system had changed on what I
Mm.
believed in, and that was one of the main things that changed. Was like it's good and bad. It's just when you go to heaven, like the lady in the last podcast talked about. It's just it's just peaceful. Like it's good. It's not like I think hell is on earth, like she said. Like that's where your hell comes in that hole. But um, that's one of the biggest things I got was that like you definitely need to focus more on other things instead of all this fighting. Like we're fighting with other countries all the time and doing all this and that. What would happen if we just like loved each other? You know.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that's
that's
that's the last bit of things that I wanted to talk about.
no, no. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful message. Before we go, did you wanna pull the card or anything like that, or are you
Yeah,
good?
you want
Yeah,
me to pull?
okay.
I got my deck right here. Let
Yeah,
me
yeah.
grab. Actually, I think it's that deck that you commented on.
Oh, cool. Um,
What should our question be?
I don't know. I guess maybe we could do like something coming up. Maybe people need to know, or like, or some, I don't know, some kind of message.
Okay.
The sparrow wants to give people if they're worried about anything, just something. Or what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good one. Look what's on the bottom, the Hierophant. That's my God card.
Oh, wow.
And on top, we've got the King of Cups.
Mm.
But yeah, let me shuffle real quick and then I'll kind of go through like how I do it. God, Holy Spirit, angels, ancestors, and higher beings of love and light. Show me what I need to know, what I need to see for anybody that finds this video today. What message do you have for them? Got the High Priestess on the bottom now, and the Moon. I always call out what's on the bottom, like whenever I'm shuffling. I don't know why. It always seems to be significant.
Hmm.
Okay, let me get one card. We'll take a jumper. So, what does anybody that finds this video need to know? Oh, okay. So we got the Two of Pentacles,
Hmm.
which is the juggling card, and actually two came out, and I felt like we should take it, but like the Knight of Pentacles is this card right here. So the Two of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles, which is basically in my mind, the Knight of Pentacles obviously moves slowly towards things, and the Two of Pentacles is about juggling and going back and forth. It's like kind of like what we talked about, the good and the bad, balancing things out. You know, you go in my mind, what I'm seeing. Let me just think for a second. Let me look at this. How I'm gonna word it. Um,
For me, I kind of feel like that sounded like that, like make a choice. Like maybe
yeah, make
people
a choice.
make
Yeah, don't be
maybe
hot or cold.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's exactly it. Like you've been like if you're delayed on going towards something, that's not like you need to pick a team, make a choice. You have a choice coming up, maybe pick a side kind of thing. Um,
Y-
but also remember that life is about balance,
Mm.
and you know you see the water and I'm seeing the air up here, like
Oh.
um you have to be flexible with life. Yeah, she
Oh.
stretchy, you know what I'm
Man.
saying? But like uh pick pick a side kind of thing, like you said. What else do you see? Anything else on there?
Well, I mean, going like how they say this is a 9 year, so it makes sense that people are having to bring things to a close, and that's kind of like that balance of like, hey, if this doesn't serve you anymore, hey, it's time to make a choice. Stop trying to juggle things that aren't there for you anymore. Like, stop trying to let things go, and so that's kind of how I see it. So I think that's perfect. It makes sense to me.
Awesome. I love that too. And then look on the bottom, it's always important, Queen of Swords,
Oh.
which is air energy, but making a choice. Like you said, being the Queen of Swords is confident. She makes a choice. She cuts things out of her life that are no longer serving her, and she's like very aware, I guess, of her purpose in life. So I think that's cool that that was on bottom. I always
Wow.
look at the bottom card, like for sure. But that's the Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy right
Oh.
there too. That's pretty cool. So, but yeah, I think this year, like you said, is a 9 year, and I think a lot of people are going to be making a lot of different changes and stuff, and it's time to like. I hate that saying. I'm trying to think of another one, but it's time to poop or get off the pot kind of
As soon
thing.
as you said that, that's what I heard in my head. It was like, obviously I heard it the other way.
Gotcha. I was like, I'm not sure if we could cuss on here.
Yeah, yeah. No, we could say. I guess it was like shit or get off the pot
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
that's exactly the way I heard it, or like the first time around. I was like, man, I can't think of any other way to say this, but yeah, it's time to
Yeah,
get off the pot.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think we're all coming to that point in our life, and our advice is to pick a team, pick a side, or something,
Yeah.
make a decision.
And if you
Um,
don't, like, I feel like, yeah, that's when that's when those tower moments happen, and the universe will do it for you. So if you want it
yep,
to be more pleasant, there it is. Like,
yep,
yeah.
yep, exactly, exactly. It's always easier, they say, whenever. whenever you like take the tower down yourself or whatever, whenever you fix things yourself. But when the universe says it's going to be like real quick and a little bit harder than if you chose to do it on your own. You made the right choice and you did it for a good reason. And I believe that because I've seen it happen in my own life before. But
Oh yeah.
you know, so I always think it's easier for me to make the right choice and do the right thing than it is for God to come in and thank me for it.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah.
so.
Absolutely. No, no, thank you. Thank you so much for for giving that to anyone watching and so
Absolutely, it
the
was my
beauty.
pleasure.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
excited to do this today. I was nervous but excited, and I was like, I don't know, I was super stoked about it. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate you
N-
having me on your channel.
No, no, it's an honor. Thank you for sharing your story. So and your time and for your energy. So thank you so much.
Absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely. Did you have? Can I ask one thing? Can I ask you one question? Did you ever have like that near death experience where you traveled in that dimension, like that, where you saw like what did you see if you did?
I mean,
Did you?
mine's was a little different, right? I think I've shared the story before. I'll tell you, but I guess we can end it and then I'll tell you about it because I
Okay,
think I think others have already heard more or less a lot of my story, so I don't want to make this longer. But
okay,
yeah, on that note, I'll put all the links so people can reach you, you know?
okay.
And do you want to tell them where they can find you or I'll just put all the links in that?
Yeah, just BB Electro Tarot on YouTube. Also, my Instagram is BRITNEE137, and that's a good place to message me. I'm more of an Instagram user for messaging. Other than that, that's it. And I appreciate y'all taking the time to watch today, and I hope you're all blessed and happy, safe, peaceful, and abundant, and all those things.
Yeah, yeah, and
So,
happy spring equinox to everybody. It just so that's and all that stuff. So
and
okay.
happy 3 years to your what you said, 3 years,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
3 years,
Thank you.
awesome. 3 years
Thank
to
you. It's an honor. Thank you. Thank you.
Life may move fast or it may move slow. I met a silly man who said he make it slow. We look up out towards space or even at the sky. One that gets away but never look inside. Breathe in, breathe out. Life is a maze but we'll figure this out. I mean human beings, I ain't got no doubt.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I wanna feel this way forever, forever.